Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Let's do look, let's just do that again because.
There you go. Okay. Let's say good morning. Hello.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh, we're hearing people's voices. Is this the nicest?
It's really, really nice.
I've got to say, said today, you really do need to have a sense of gratitude. Celebrate Bat Mitzvah, we celebrate Shabbat. You know, sometimes people don't realize that on these mornings, listen to it right now, just take a moment. These are the gifts. These are the gifts of creation we've been given. And as we celebrate creation, as we celebrate this day of rest, this day of beauty, this day of thankfulness, this day of accomplishment and welcome. What joy it is to be with you, to worship, sing, to celebrate with Mimi and the Karten family. For our Shabbat celebration this morning.
So the way
over here to my right hour, glad that you could join us this morning.
Absolutely. And the best way you can participate in this service is singing, clapping, whatever makes you feel celebrate Mimi.
Yeah, we can do that because we still want to be cautious and some need to use the restroom. In the book, we just go one at a time, and we just right in the court, it's open, and the bathrooms are a little bit back, but fine. All right, everybody. When you sing up. That's really what we would ask for the master.
And piece, he's our president, President Ivan Wolfson, and that is Terrence. And also somebody you're not seeing today, but is also present with us, is Michael Blaine, who is our tech support congregant volunteer, who always makes sure that our bar and bat mitzvahs are wonderful and lift up our students. So Mimi, we're really excited for you. I think it's time to get started. What do you think?
It definitely is.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Yai dai 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 dai. 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 Yai dai dai yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Dai dai yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. The word is Shabbat Shalom. 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 Shabbat Shalom.
My friends, the bat mitzvah, the comes a bat mitzvah upon the wearing tallit for the first time. So I'd like to call to the bima, Mimi's parents, Daniel and Marissa. Can't hear me. All right, well, let's try this again.
How about now? Oh, see, I unmuted myself and then muted myself. Okay, very good. All right. Thank you. Hold on to the. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Oh. All right. Well, Mimi, as I hold this beautiful tallit in my hands with its swirls and all this water imagery like Miriam in the Torah, you'll notice that there are fringes that hang down from the corners. These fringes are called tzitzit, and they symbolize God's commandments. Bat mitzvah literally means the daughter of the commandment. So Mimi, when you put on the tallit for the very first time, you will literally wrap yourself in God's commandments, in God's mitzvot, as you take on the mantle and the power and the authority of being a Jewish adult and wearing the tallit and observing the commandments. And so I would ask now that Daniel and Mercy take the tallit and placing it on Mimi's shoulders as she says the blessing. Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Allah. Eloheinu melech haolam, asher k'shahu mitzvotav, banu lahitate v'tzitzit.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, creator of the universe, who commands us through God's commandments to wear the tzitzit. Oh. All right, it's complicated. You know, have you ever noticed that Madonna, for example, does not wear a tallit when she sings? Have you noticed that? Yeah, even though she's a Kabbalist, she does not wear the tallit while she sings. So that's why it's sometimes challenging. All right, we turn now to page 192 as we welcome this gorgeous day with Ma Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov. How lovely your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. How lovely is our tent this morning, our natural canopy, our creation with God. Page 192.
Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Man Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Vahani Berov Chastecha Avo Beitecha Eshkacha Ve'erhecho Kodshecha Be'yiratecha Man Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Man Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
We continue now on page 194 as Mimi reads the prayer for health and our bodies.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously.
Baruch atah Adonai, rofecho basar umafli la'asot. Page 197, the prayer for soul.
My soul came to me pure, drawn from the reservoir of the holy. All the time it remains within me. I am thankful for its thirst. Action and justice. Let my eyes behold the beauty of all creatures. Let my hands know the privilege of righteous deeds.
Baruch atah Adonai, asher be'adon nefesh kol chai, v'ruach kol basar ish. The Nisim B'chol Yom, page 198. The way we will do this is David and I will alternate, and Mimi will offer a prayer for and say what the prayer is. So you'll see how it goes as we proceed. Page 198. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasek vivina ve'avchin ben yom uvein laila.
For awakening.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
For vision.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
For the ability to stretch.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
For rising to the new day.
Amen. Page 200. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'karetz al hamayim.
For from the earth to open stand upon.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
For the gift of motion.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumihim.
For clothing the body.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten la ya'ef koach.
For the renewed enthusiasm for life.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir shena me'enai u'tnima me'afapai.
For reawakening.
Amen.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
For being in the image of God.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorin.
For being a free person.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
For being a Jew.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Osei Yisrael b'gvura.
For purpose.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara.
For harmony.
Amen. We continue now on page 204 with the blessing for Torah.
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dwelling graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for a wedding couple, accomplishing the deeds for burial, being devout to prayer, and making peace among people, and the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Elu divarim shein lahem shiur. We sing together.
Elu divarim shein lahem shior. Elu divarim shein lahem shior. Elu divarim shein lahem shior. Ve'eluhin. That's lines 1 and 5, and the bottom line. Let's try lines 1 and 5 again. Here we go. Elu divarim shein lahem shior. Elu divarim shein lahem shior. Elu divarim shein lahem shior. Ve'eluhin. The Talmud. Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Talmud Torah Keneged kulam, Talmud Torah, Keneged kulam, Talmud Torah, Keneged kulam. Elu divarim she'ein lahem shior, Elu divarim she'ein lahem shior, Elu divarim she'ein lahem shior, Ba'eluhem.
We turn now to page 215. We are blessed by happiness. We are blessed by joy on this Shabbat in this celebration as we sing together the Ashrei. Page 215.
Happy are the ones who dwell in your house. Happy are the ones who dwell in your house. Happy are the ones who dwell in your house. Happy are the ones who dwell in your house. Ashrei, Ashrei, Yoshvei Beitecha, Od Yehalelu Chasela. Ashrei, Ashrei, Yoshvei Beitecha, Od Yehalelu Chasela. Happy are the ones who dwell in your house. Happy are the ones who dwell in your house. Ashrei, Ashrei, Yoshvei Beitecha, Od Yehalelu Chasela. Ashrei, Yoshvei Beitecha, Od Yehalelu Chasela.
Page 220. We continue with our service. Go ahead.
Even if our mouths were full of song as the sea, and our tongues full of joy in countless waves, and our lips full of praise as wide as the sky's expanse, and were our eyes to shine like the sun and the moon, if our hands were spread out like heaven's eagles, and our feast swift like young deer, we could never thank you adequately, Adonai, our God, and God of our ancestors, to bless your name for a 10,000th of the many midrids of time.
Keep going.
And granted favors to our ancestors and to us.
Amen. Page 224, the Chetzi Kaddish.
Yikara v'yikara Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach Yerotev Yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon v'yom echon, Uv'chayedecho b'et Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, Uv'izman Kariv, V'imeru,
Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, La'olam u'la'om me'almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yitale, V'yithalal, Shemei Kudesha Berechu, La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, Tush bechata v'nechemata, Damiran be'alma, be'imeru.
Amen. We rise and turn to page 226.
We have a minhag, a custom here at Temple Havonim during the Baruch Hu. We sing these words: Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? We don't put it in the prayer book because we're hoping that you're paying attention and you're awake. And if not, you can clap your hands twice in this kind of way. Am I awake? Am I prepared? And you listening to my prayer. And we hope during that time you'll be aware of either all the goodness that's out there in the world, or maybe some ways that we can make our world a little bit better with each clap. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada-da-da-da, 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 yada-da-da-da. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
You know, this is the part of our service that we celebrate creation. And I've got to say that this is really the first time that I've had a chance to worship outside in a way that feels totally comfortable and natural to me. For those of you who don't know, I only began to be the rabbi here at Temple Habonim in July, and this is one of the first times we've had people to speak with, and we're outside. And when I turned around to say the Baruch Hu, I noticed the water going by and how stunning it is. And when I look back this way, I am just we're surrounded by trees and sky and earth. And we are literally in the midst of this creation. And so when David sings the Yotzer Or, I hope that you'll think about just how extraordinary it is that the miracles of creation are all around us this morning and all around us all the time. Just that our prayers kind of focus our attention on the miracles that are always there. Page 228.
Rabbi, I'll go one further.
Go one further.
I'll call and raise. You are God's creation. All of us are. And so to be in creation while we are creation, it's a pretty holy moment. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yonser or uvarei choshech oseh shalom uvarei et hakol. That's it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yotzer or uvarei choshech oseh shalom uvarei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yotzer or uvarei choshech oseh shalom uvarei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvarei choshech oseh shalom uvarei et hakol.
Page 231.
Once or twice in a lifetime, a man or woman may choose a radical leaving, having heard Lehiklateh, Lech Lacha, go forth. God disturbs us towards our destiny, and by hard events and by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who you are. We don't like leaving, but God loves becoming.
Baruch atah Adonai, abocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. As we prepare to say the Shema and affirm God's oneness and affirm the oneness of our people and the oneness of this moment, surrounded by family and friends and loved ones, we pray together. Go ahead.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
And you may be seated. We now continue on page 234 as we celebrate the moment of passing on the wisdom of the generations, the wisdom of our people, and the wisdom of Torah as we sing together, V'ahavta.
Mimi, I said this to you last night during the service, even though we weren't all together. So for those of you who are hearing this a second time, I'm sorry. But thank you. Mimi, I've known you for 3 years now.
Yeah.
You guys always came to services. You were part of our religious school. I would usually save a lot of this till the end. But the Shema is our time where we talk about believing in one God, that we're one Jewish people, which has started to include more and more and more of us. And we passed on this wisdom from generation to generation. It's specifically meaningful to me because last year you were my daughter's kindergarten madricha, student teacher. So it's truly passing down the wisdom from the generations. And we see that in the Ve'ahavta prayer. So thank you, first of all, for taking care of my little one. And also thank you to your family for coming here and being a part of our community. You've really enriched what we're doing here. 234 Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי Vitem Kedoshim Lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher Hotzeiti Etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot Lachem Lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We continue now on page 239 as Mimi leads us responsibly.
I'm so sorry. The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is no one else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice. You guys can say that part too. Okay, go ahead.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you are strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asks God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. Page 240, the Micha Mocha.
Yay, die, 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 die. Yay, die, 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 die. Yay, die, 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 die. Yay, die, 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 die. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef beleh, nora tehilot osef beleh. Shira chadasha shibchu geulim, l'shimcha tzvat hayam. Yachad kulam hodu v'himlechu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Tzur Yisrael Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael Uvdechenu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael Go Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Adonai Gal Yisrael.
We continue now on page 243. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. Please rise for the Amidah, beginning on page 242, and we'll prompt you on the page turns as we go along. Please rise.
Adonai. Ananana svatai tifta. Ananana ufi yagid. Ufi yagid tehilate. Halalalala. Ananana Adonai. Ananana svatai tifta. Ananana ufi yagid tehilate la 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 ananana Adonai ananana svatai tifta ananana ufi yagid tehilatecha Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha Adonai open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
244.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi geula livnei v'neihem, L'ma'an shamo be'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshia u'magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Bezrat Sarah.
246.
Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הצל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בלי שני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Page 248, Kiddusha.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוכו הארץ כבודו, אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. So we continue our service on page 250 with Yismachu, and this is a song and prayer of delight and joy and celebration. Please don't hesitate to clap with us, sing with us, stomp your feet. It's one of those wonderful songs that just celebrates the beauty and joy of Shabbat.
Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshi, Mekadeshi Shevi Shabbat, Kulam Yisba'u, Vayitangu Mitvecha Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat. V'hashvi ratzitza bo v'kedashto Shabbat, Chemdan Yamim Oto Kerata Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha. Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekorei Oneg Shabbat. As the most precious of days, drawing our attention to the work of creation. Zecher Lemase, Lemase Vereshit Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha. Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekorei Oneg Shabbat. La 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 la. Yismechu b'malechutecha. Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekorei Oneg Shabbat.
We now continue with on page 253 as Mimi will lead us in prayer at the top of the page.
We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. And this morning we have often spoken so far. Oh, well, no, not quite yet. You know what? Shabbat holiness is found in peace, in contemplation, and in thanksgiving. We hear the Ritzeh, words thanking God for hearing our prayers, for enabling us to be together on this blessed morning. Page 254.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam be'ahava tikabel U'tehilei ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael. Yisrael amecha. El karov lechol korah pnei alavadecha bechonenu. Shefoch ruchacha aleinu betechzenai beshuvecha letzion berachamim Baruch atah Adonai HaMachazir Shechenato L'Tzion 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 L'Tzion.
Our service now continues. Our service now continues on page 257, our prayer for Thanksgiving. This is a prayer that requires a little bit of us and a little bit of Hebrew, but I know you can do it. As Mimi reads the English, we will respond in the Hebrew, Modim anachnu lach. We give our thanks unto you, O God.
For the expanding grandeur of creation, words known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, to common past and future hope, for oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding and views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and in freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
Modim anachnu lach.
We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ucha na'eh lehodot. Our prayer for peace, found on page 259. May we have peace in our communities, our schools, our state, and our nation, and may we have peace in all parts of the world troubled by strife, conflict, and war. Page 259.
Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Chen v'chesed Chen v'chesed v'rachamim Chen v'chesed Chen v'chesed v'rachamim Rachamim Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Amecha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha.
We now take some time for silent prayer and for the meditations in our hearts.
Page 260. Oh, say shalom bimroma. Oh, yeah, say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, for the Jewish people. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, and for all who breathe. Vimru, amen. Yai la lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, yai la la lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai. Oh, say shalom bimroma. Oh, yeah, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Yai la lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, yai la lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai. So just like peace, this song is a little bit tough, but it takes all of us to try and do it together. One more time. Yai la la lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, yai la la lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai. Oh, say shalom bimroma. Oh, yeah, say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen.
My friends, we now come to the portion of our service, the Torah service. And I'd like you all to turn to page 363, page 363. And for this, the Pasuk in the Torah, I would like to call up to the Bima, Mimi's parents, Daniel and Marissa, grandfather Harvey, and grandmother Alyssa. We'd ask you now to rise.
Happy
is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. For its value is greater than silver, its yield than fine gold, is more precious than rubies. No treasure can match it.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'devar Adonai miYerushalayim. Vador vador, nagid godlecha. Vador vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Vador vador, these lips will praise your name.
As I took the Torah out of the ark, couldn't help but think about Karten family.
just a very short time, they've made such a very big difference, to our community. David spoke of Mimi being a madricha class. Daniel, of course, sits on our board of trustees. And when I took the Torah out of the ark this morning, I could only do so because of Daniel's work, his craftsmanship, his love of Torah. Heard? Oh. Okay. So it's that love for Torah that enables this moment to happen. To pass the Torah from proud grandmother to proud grandfather to proud parents and to our bat mitzvah. We are here because of the example set for us and the care and love and attention to this Torah has enabled our people to survive and more than that, to flourish. To the Karten family, to their example for all of us, to their dedication to Temple Abonim, and of course, to this beautiful Torah and this ark that stands before us, this ark that reminds us of Eitz Chaim, of a tree of life. We are so grateful. And it is in that spirit that we pass this Torah from generation to generation, L'dor V'dor.
L'dor V'dor, these lips will praise your name.
Friends, in just a moment, after we say our prayers, Mimi will have a hakafah. She will take the Torah to you. Normally, of course, we would say that you could reach out and touch the Torah with your tallit or your prayer book, but in this age, we won't be able to do that. So Mimi, you're going to just walk down the center aisle and then back. But know that the Torah lives among all of our people and all those who sing its praises. We pray together the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Kadlu Adonai iti u'naroma shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagidula v'hagivura v'hatiferet v'hanetza v'chahod ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'minaseh v'chol v'rosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu.
You may be seated.
the Torah. Thank you.
Friends, it's time now to take out the insert that is in your prayer books as Mimi chants from the portion of Kiddushim. As Mimi will teach during her Devar Torah, she will be chanting from the Holiness Code, chapter 19, Leviticus. And the Holiness Code is the foundation for our modern ethics. It's perhaps the most important passage in the entire Torah. You'll also notice, and Mimi will also tell you about the fact that the Torah is exactly equal. The scroll itself on one side and the other are exactly, I know their circumference is exactly right. They're the whatever geometry term you should know about that I can't think of. They're equal in diameter. That's it. And that's because it's in the middle, because indeed it is our center of our ethical lives. So for the first Aliyah, I'm so proud to call to the Bima, Mimi's grandfather, Harvey Karten. Ya'amod Hillel Yaakov ben Yitzchak.
It's okay.
Baruch Adonai
Borach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Harvey, would you please hold the eights? Thank you so much.
Uvkutrechem et kitzir artechem lo techale peyad zadecha litzor veleket kitzircha lo telaket v'charmecha lo teolel uferet karmecha lo telaket Lehani vilager ta'azov otam ani Adonai Elohecha lo tignovu velo tichashu velo tishakeru ish ba'amito.
Beautifully done. That was fantastic.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shenatan Torah.
Asher natan lanu
Amen.
Yasher koach. You just step back. All the way. All the way. More. There you go. Stay right there. Thank you. Yasher koach.
For our second Aliyah, we're so pleased to call Mimi's grandmother, Alyssa Kaplan. Ta'amod le'achaya bat Hinda Surah.
Yeah. Baruch
et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach.
Leolam
Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Beautifully done. Okay. Alyssa, could you please hold that? Hold it right there.
Velo tishaveu vishmi la shaker v'kilata peyat sadecha. Oh, apologies. Et Shem Elohecha ani Adonai. Lo ta'ashok et re'acha, v'lo tigzol lo talin, peolat sachir, et ha'ani, et ad boker. Lo tikalel cheresh, v'lifnei iver, lo titain mikshol, ve'areta melohecha ani Adonai.
Beautiful. That's so great. That's really nice. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. Go sit down now. Thank you. Both sit down. You can go sit down. For our third Aliyah, we're so pleased to call Mimi's parents, Daniel and Marissa Karten. Ya'amdu Daniel Evan Ben Hila Yaakov and Marta Lehigh. I hope I was heard. My voice is strong. Okay, good. Here we go.
Baruch et Adonai HaMorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chadanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Lo ta'asu avel b'mishpat, lo tisa v'nedal, lo v'lotedar p'nei gadol, v'tzedek tishpot amitecha, lo telech lachi be'amecha, lo tamod Aldam re'echa ani Adonai.
Beautiful. It was lovely. It's right there. It was.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shakos, that was beautiful. Stay right here. Yeah. And it's now my honor to call to the Torah our bat mitzvah, Mimi Karten. Ta'amod, Miriam bat Daniel v'Martel, Aliyah bat mitzvah leTorah.
Baruch et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher baruch banu mikol ha'amin, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Okay.
Lo tisna et ahicha bilvavecha, tohiach et amitecha, v'lo tisa alav toheach achet, lo tikom v'lo titor et amecha, ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha Ani Adonai.
Yesha Koach, beautifully done. That's great. You have more of an indoor time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat amet, v'chei le'olam natan b'chotenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. In the presence of Torah, with all of us together, we offer our prayers for healing. If there are those who you're praying for healing, please feel free to name them aloud or within your hearts at this time.
Quinn Sullivan.
Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, healer of the sick. If you open your books to page 371, please join us for the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
At this time, we'll call upon our bat mitzvah father, Daniel Karten, to be our Hagba, as we ask you all to rise as we lift up the Torah. Yamod Hamagbiah. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. And we dress the Torah.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la.
You may be seated. Mimi will now offer her Devar Torah, which she'll do slowly, the way she does everything else beautifully and with lots of inflection.
Stand by for wind problems. Okay. Good morning and Shabbat Shalom. So it's finally happening. There was always a part of me that thought it never would, for a plethora of reasons. And I was off and on okay with that fact, and I found myself justifying it to others. After some reflection, I started to realize that it was always me that I was trying to justify it to. Because no matter what, I always felt like a fraud or an imposter, like I didn't deserve the powerful title of being Jewish. My goal was to believe that 13 is way too young for in the modern world to become bat mitzvah. Not to anyone's discredit, it is tradition after all. Why is it scary? Okay. But bat mitzvah means joining the community as an adult. But to be honest, just because some 2,000 years ago, 13 meant being an adult is sort of irrelevant at this point. And listen, 2,000 years ago, 35 was dead and they didn't have bagels. So there were a few problems. As many of you know, I identify as a feminist, at least until I have to shovel the driveway in January. Call me crazy, but as a young woman, I don't believe that 13 should be an adult just because back in the day, girls would be getting married and starting families at this time. I mean, I'm a month away from 16 and I struggle to keep a fake plant alive, let alone 2 kids and a husband to take care of. Crazy as all that is, I finally made it to a point where I'm ready to actively make the decision to become bat mitzvah. So thank you all for being a part of my special day. The portion that I decided to study is Kiddushim from the book of Leviticus, chapter 19. I chose this portion for a few reasons. Not only was it close to the date of my 16th birthday, but also because it had a lot to do with my personal beliefs and principles. This portion features what is considered the ethics code, which are the laws instructed by God on how to be a good person. They stand out from the Torah for 2 main reasons. They are written in a different way than most of the stories. They're directly in the middle of the Torah scroll. Upon further reflection and discussion with Rabbi Howard, I learned that this is because they are meant to stand out, not to fit in with the rest of the stories and morals. Being that they are the backbone of the Torah and Jewish life. When learning and discovering more about these verses, I began to realize that they are much more than they seem. Even though the verbiage is very simple and seemingly obvious, the most important parts of them are the metaphors and deeper meanings. This became apparent to me in my 2 favorite verses. 14, do not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block in front of the blind. And 15, do not pervert justice. Do not show partiality to the poor or favoritism to the rich. One can read this and find the basic message as it is written. When you start to truly think about it, though, verse 14 simply means to not make another's personal life struggle more difficult than it already is. And in verse 15, we are reminded that justice is not true justice if it's at the expense of others. The reference to favoritism of the wealthy and disregard for the poor I found to be very relevant and a perfect reflection for the problems of our modern society at this time. In fact, all of these laws can be applied in one way or another to our everyday life, not just the lives of the Jewish people, but to everyone. There must be a reason that these guidelines were written almost 2,700 years ago and still apply in our own lives in one way or another. This morning, I'd like you to reflect on your own choices. How could that situation or this decision have gone differently if we had taken a moment to put these ancient words of wisdom to use? Even though I am young and still figuring out my personal religious beliefs and personal morals, I know that I don't have to be a spiritual person to benefit from the wisdom of the historical texts such as this. That being said, I can go forward in my journey and on my path to social justice with the expanding wisdom and lessons that I've learned from my portion as the Torah and the Torah as a whole. Now, finally, for the part where I might cry. I am filled with so much gratitude for the loving support system around me. Mama, Papa. Even though we might fight and have our ups and downs, did not expect this. I know definitely that I would be nowhere near the person I am today if it wasn't for everything that you've taught me. You pick me up when I fall down. You've taught me immeasurably important lessons. You've given me everything and any opportunity that I could have ever wanted. And there is so much more that I can't even begin to express. But I'll try. Papa, you were the one that taught me. Sorry. The importance of adventure, self-reliance, and patience. Oh, it's blurry now. Okay. Not to mention the point where funny becomes questionable. And to never stop laughing, even if people aren't laughing with you. And Mama, you were the one that kickstarted my passion for change and the fight for justice. Despite the struggles and hot-headed arguments, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I wouldn't have had the courage to stand up to those who tried to put me down or to silence me, or have the cynicism running through my veins that fuels me. And Tia, you've shown me how to remain calm and level-headed, even if it doesn't really work. And you have taught me so many important things that I'm so lucky to call you not only my aunt and my godmother, but a part of who I am and a wonderful support system that you've made for me. Thank you for listening to me vent, burst my bubble when it gets too big, and give me wonderful advice that I would probably truly understand for many, many years, laugh when needed it most, and given me a semi-intentional side eye when I when I come into your room on a Saturday morning to, let's face it, annoy you, because I have the attention span of a goldfish. To all of my other wonderful relatives, Gigi for raising me for the first 6 months of my life. Really wish I could remember that. Sure, it was a real hoot. And there are just so many more of you that I can't even begin to address directly, because we've seen how this has gone so far. Thank you for all that you have done in one way or another, big or small, in getting me to this point. Teaching me and shaping me into who I am, both as a person and as a proud Jewish woman. To my friends, and my parents' friends that I've co-opted, who I will be surfing briefly to thank. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for the loan. They've been very beneficial. Over the years, whether you are here or watching from another location, hello. Thank you for your direct and indirect teaching me of valuable life lessons and bringing me innumerable wonderful times, laughs, and memories. To Rabbi Howard and David, thank you for making me feel welcomed, safe, heard, and loved, and appreciated so much more in a new place and environment that I never have felt like I belonged in. I can't begin to explain how happy I am to be a part of the Temple Habanim family. Okay. Lastly, Grandpa and Grandma, who I wish so deeply could be sitting here today. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for just about everything I know in my soul. I got all the best parts of me from the time that I spent with you. But thank God I did not get your painful sense of humor. And I will never love birds nearly as much as you. But watching you two together as I grew up showed me what love truly and really is. And I wish just to have a fraction of that at some point in my life. I hope to one day be as kind, generous, brilliant, and inspiring as you have always been to me. Oh, the mascara. Okay. Thank you all so much for being here on this momentous day. Shabbat Shalom.
Now my pleasure to call. Yeah. It's now my pleasure to call to the Bima Mimi's very proud parents this morning, Daniel and Marissa, to offer their words of congratulations.
Well,
We're gonna get started early.
yeah, exactly. If anybody was at our wedding, you know what's coming. Okay, great. Okay.
Thank you all for coming.
Okay. So yes, we are so grateful for you all being here who made the trip and everyone who's watching from afar. We're moved, we're touched, we're particularly moved by what a mensch our daughter has become. I made a few notes to try to stay organized, but okay. So the purpose of what I'm calling our Mimi's Bat Mitzvah Brucha is to praise you, your hard work, because when you apply yourself and you dig in, you achieve excellence. We praise your ethics and we acknowledge the incredible fleeting journey to adulthood that you are on. Your maturation is lovely to watch and support. We acknowledge courage versus fear. This has taken a lot of courage, and fear is often the default, but you rally more often than not and transcend your fear and shine. We're here today. This is why we're here, because this moment is a testament to your character. This moment is a testament to who you are. And I've told you before, and I've told others, that when we decided to have a child, it was because we felt that the world needed more good people in it. And we determined after 8 years of marriage that it was time. So we were a little late in the game, perhaps, and you're a little late in this process, but it's the timing of everything is perfect and sacred and beautiful. So this moment represents in your character, your vicious sense of equity and justice, and your character. You are a fighter. And we wanted to bring into this world, these were my exact words, a justice warrior. And you were born that person. As you search and challenge, meet expectations of your own and the world's, you are striving, and your principles and your passion and your stubbornness and your strong-willed nature are what keep you going, what keep us going. And the world needs it. And we are so grateful that you are here. You never did and will never accept the status quo. And that's such a beautiful quality, in our opinion, because of who we are and what we believe in. And we come from people who have taught us about justice and fairness. And we are so grateful to all who have come before us. And we give thanks and acknowledgement to our ancestors who watch over us, continue guiding us, teaching us, and helping us through this process called life. We are delighted to be a part of Habonim. It's such a wonderful, wonderful congregation. And not having been a religious person growing up, I feel I am having such a more meaningful experience of Judaism as an adult. And I'm really, really grateful for that, because this temple is perfect for our family. Yeah.
God.
Well, inspiring, kindness, and funny. Well, I don't know what I can get out, but I'm very proud.
I'd like to share one more thing. I need to share one more thing, because very often, traditionally, each parent says a little something to their child, but we're doing this jointly because Dan has some difficulty speaking once he gets crying. So we're doing our best. I'm representing both of us, and Dan is, we wrote this together, just made these notes, and we just wanted to share this one little story. I remember the day when Mimi, as a little girl, realized or became aware that women are treated differently in the world than men. There's so much to be done, not just for women, but for the environment, for everything, everyone. We want the world to be a better place. And you're going to help do that. When you became aware of the injustices in the world, you were outraged. She was furious. She was like 6 years old. And she's like, what do you mean? What do you mean I don't get paid the same as men? What do you mean? So this is our little feminist, our growing, beautiful feminist, a strong voice for women and for people. And she's always fighting for the underdog. You have no idea who she speaks up for and stands up to. And it is inspiring. So this funny, intelligent, lovely person, we are just so dang proud. So thank you again for being here. Thank you, Rabbi, for stepping in and guiding her. And David, you rock. We're part of your fan club. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Me too.
Please rise. Please rise as we return the Torah through the ark.
Etz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomcheha me'ushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol nativoteha shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh yameinu kekedem.
You may be seated.
So probably you don't know this, but it wasn't until very recently that the Reform movement had thank you. Okay. Let's just close this. All right. Thank you. Yeah, good idea. All right. This is called the Rabbi's Charge 2.0. Okay. See, that's the thing about creation, right? Is that there's a lot of blessing, and then there's also wind. There's ruach. Okay. So we begin again. So Mimi and all of you, for the longest time, up until the 1960s, actually, there were no bar and bat mitzvahs for seventh graders. And the reason for that was because the rabbis didn't feel that a seventh grader was really had the intellectual curiosity and maturity to chant from Torah and lead a service and offer Devar Torah, because they were just 13 and it was considered to be too young. So what there was 10th grade, there was confirmation, and that's what it was. And we had a group ceremony, which of course we will do next month. And then things changed because, well, for lots of reasons, which are not interesting enough to get into this morning. But this is the first time for me as a rabbi, and I've been a rabbi for 20 years now, more than 20 years, 21 years, that I've had to, that I've officiated a bat mitzvah for someone in 10th grade. And I would just want to say for the record that the difference, because all of you know this, is amazing. Because you do a lot of developing in adolescence between 7th grade and 10th grade. And Mimi, this morning, you presented and taught us so beautifully, so sensitively, and with such maturity and passion. And that's due not only to you as a person, but also due to your life experience and the age that you are. And I want to thank you for that, because I think you intuitively understand, as your mom said so beautifully, what these verses mean and why they are the backbone, the foundation of what it means to be Jewish. So I want to talk about a couple of verses that you didn't talk about, but that are very meaningful to me, although differently this morning. Normally, when you begin with verse 9, which is when you plow your fields, you don't plow all the way to the corners. And you know why that is? We don't plow all the way to the corners because there are people in the community that don't have any fields at all to plow. And so if you don't plow all the way to the corners, you leave the corners for those who don't have any. They're called gleaners, by the way, and they still exist in various places. So the gleaners can come to your land and plow and harvest and feed themselves. And the way the rabbis explain this today is that they make an analogy to, for example, giving tzedakah. That there are people who, for example, may not have their own garden. They may not have their own fields to plow. They may not be able to have their own independent supply of food. And so we help them. Help them through tzedakah. Help them through... Am I all right here? Maybe if I took it off my tie. Yeah, all right. So, as a result, we write a check and we deliver food to the food bank. Sometimes we donate it right here to Temple and then we deliver it. What are you gonna do for me? Just use this one. Turn mine one off. Can I give you mine? Okay. Okay. So here's what's happened. What's happened is that we write a check or we donate money. And this is really important because it's a part of our obligation and responsibility as a commandment to do so. But what we don't do is we don't have a relationship with the people to whom we give. The rabbis and authors of Torah did not just say and command us to not plow all the way to the corners of the fields and don't pick up all of the grapes from the vineyard. It's not all they meant. They meant to tell us that if you don't plow all the way to the corners of your fields, there'll be room for others to come and visit. There'll be room for relationships. There'll be room to get to know those people because they're on your land and you'll have to know them. Because indeed, God imagined and we imagined that our relationship to those who don't have as much wouldn't just be through a check or a donation, but we would see their pain. We would experience what they experience. And Mimi, that's who you are. I have had the privilege of working with you for this past year. In fact, we sat right there at that picnic table about 9 months ago, I guess, August. Sometime in August we did that.
I thought it was January.
No, it couldn't have been January because we were sitting outside and it was warm. So it couldn't have been that short a time. But maybe we did.
I don't know.
But the point is that we sat outside and we chose this portion. And over these several months, you've demonstrated to me, and you do this every day of your life, by the way, your concern for relationships and for others who, as your mom said, if they don't get paid as well, if they don't treat it as well, as they don't have as much justice as they should, as much justice as we do. And the reason it's so important that we do that, and the reason it's so important that we follow these commandments and actually make our society what it should be, is because if we reached out in that way, we would know the people who don't have what we have. And once we knew the people, well, then it all changes, doesn't it? Because they're not just what we read about in the newspaper or online, but they're people who have parents, grandparents, and friends. People whose lives are shaped by their experiences, just as our lives are shaped by ours. And Mimi, you fight for those people. And you'll know them in school, in your community, in Warren, in Pawtucket, wherever you may be. You will know them. And you'll reach out to them, and you'll welcome them into your world, and they'll welcome you into theirs. And that's what it's all about. It's about the personal relationship that leads to justice. Because until we know the people who need help and they know us, we're going to remain in our silos. And we're not going to accomplish nearly as much. Your mom said it took courage to do this. But it's more than that. I didn't tell you this, but when you turned 13, you became a bat mitzvah. So I wanted you to know that. You didn't need to do this. You were always a bat mitzvah. What you did today was You led us beautifully with sensitivity and with passion, with emotion and with empathy. And you chanted so beautifully, the best you've ever done. And you gave us a Devar Torah that we'll remember for the rest of our lives. A Devar Torah about this journey that you've made. If you had said, you know what? I'm in 10th grade. I've got a lot on my plate. The reason why we do bar and bar mitzvahs in 7th grade is because there's less scheduled to do. And you could have just said, you know what? I know who I am as a Jew and I'm good. It's not what you did. Instead, you worked incredibly hard and you've given it your all. And you made it very special. And more importantly, you've become a Jewish woman with lev, with heart. And with that, we are all blessed. Normally, I would say something about how, when you get to be an adolescent, then your life will change in certain ways. But you already know that. So I will just tell you that as you continue through high school and as you get to college, there's still just a myriad of decisions to make. But they will be defined and shaped by your loving parents and grandparents and by you, the passionate, intelligent, curious, and empathetic person that you are. May these next several years, as you become a fully fledged adult, yeah, I know, where you may have to shovel a driveway every now and then.
That's why I'm moving back out to the West.
Yeah. May those years be blessed with love. May they be blessed with passion. May they be blessed with learning. And most of all, may they be blessed by a desire to shape the world and define it and change it in accordance with the Jewish values you hold so dear. Mazel tov. You've done a beautiful job, and I'm so, so very proud to know you and to have worked with you these past several months. It's been great. You did beautifully. I'd like you all now to rise as we offer this blessing to Mimi. Yivarech Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's light shine upon you and be gracious to you always. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence always surround you and give you the greatest gift of all, the gift of shalom, the gift of peace. And let us all say, Amen.
And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechila. Mimi, I know you're waiting for me to say something too. We purposely don't have it the one after the other because we need to give you a second, right? Don't worry.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming.
You'll get another chance to cry. We remain standing for the Aleinu on page 586. 500, yes, 86.
Yes. Aleinu l'shabach l'adon hakol, l'tet krila liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, begor aleinu ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. At this time, we recall those who have died in recent days, those whose families are in the midst of Shiva or Shloshim. We remember Diane, Stephen Manasian. We remember Leonard Cohan. Thank you. And that's it. Marshall Vinier. We also recall those who are observing a yurt site. If there's anyone who is observing a yurt site on this Shabbat, please feel free to say their names aloud or within your hearts. Thank you. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be remembered for a blessing. We turn now to page 598. And as one family, we praise God's name and pray the mourner's Kaddish. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chaye echon v'yom echon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah v'rach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitgar Yitbar V'Yitramam V'Yitnaseh V'Yithadar V'Yitalev V'Yitalal Shemei T'Kudisha B'Richu E'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tush Bechata V'Nechemata Dal Miran V'Alma V'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shlam Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mromav Huya says Shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen.
Oseh Shalom b'mroma, Huya says Shalom Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
You may be seated. It's now my pleasure to call to the beam a member of our Board of Trustees, the co-chair of Religious Education Committee, Christopher Lane, who will be giving you gifts, Mimi. And,
Oh, I love those.
yeah. And I think, David, maybe yours, or should I? You know what? I think it's easier for me to give you. No, it's easier for me to do. Okay. All right.
Hi.
Hi, Mimi. Mimi, I am. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Yep. Mimi, I have a few notes, and I'm so honored to be the one to get to share this with you. A little closer, all right. Mimi, I am honored to be able to be the one to share this with you. I got to work with you when you did your audition for your performing arts high school, so I got a firsthand view of how you apply yourself. This must have been so much harder. So well done.
Thank you.
So, on behalf of the board, we have some gifts for you. Now, in the envelope here is the Bat Mitzvah certificate signed by Rabbi Howard, by David, and by Ivan Wolfson, our Habonim president. In the bag here, you have a Siddur, your very own copy of the Jewish Reform prayer book,
and your own unique tzedakah box to serve as a gentle yet attractive reminder of the Jewish religious obligation to do what is right and just. But it sounds like that is not something you need to be really reminded of. Also, there is the certificate for $250 towards a nifty trip to Israel. And for those of you who don't know, well, Israel is indeed nifty. In this case, nifty stands for the North American Federation for Temple Youth, now referred to simply as the Reform Youth Movement, which is just as, the Reform Jewish Youth Movement, which is just as long, but without the fun acronym. And so that you can know this, for those of you who don't, this is an explanation of what that is, because it's important. So for generations, Reformed Jewish teens have traveled to Israel for a summer of deep, meaningful engagement with Jewish history and peoplehood. Temple Havanim and NIFTY want to help affirm the formative role of an Israel travel experience in each teen's Jewish journey. And that is what this certificate is to help you accomplish. So on behalf of not only the Temple Havanim board, but for the entire Temple Havanim community, I say Mazel Tov to you, Mimi, and Yasher Koach on doing such a beautiful job.
Thank you.
All right, good.
All right, Mimi. Now it's my turn.
Wait, we want to do Kiddush and Motzi first?
Oh, we'll do Kiddush
Why don't we
and
do
Motzi
Kiddush and Motzi
first.
first? Yeah.
I'm just so excited to talk to you.
All right. And yeah,
Hannah, if you want to still come up, do you want to
Yeah.
help me?
that'd be so wonderful if you did. Hi, Hannah. Come on up. Stay next to me.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher
Borei.
borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Go ahead.
It's wine, but it tastes like juice.
It's wine. There you go. Okay. Thank you, Hannah, so
Gotta love
much.
Manischewitz.
Yeah. Wait, don't go away. Don't go away, because we have here, and I want to give you to hold some bread for challah. Say the motzi.
Amen.
And beautifully done. Thank you, Hannah.
Hannah, that was beautiful.
That was
Thank you.
gorgeous. I really appreciate that. So now that we've done Kiddush and Motzi, David, I turn it to you. Yes, I will turn off my mic.
So, Mimi, here's the deal. I just appreciate you as a person. I think we're cut from similar cloths. And I'm remembering when your family moved here. I'm remembering a very long conversation I had with your mom, maybe like close to 2 hours, like just kind of chatting with your dad too, hanging out here, doing different things around the temple. They've both leaned in and been invested singing with you, Marissa. It was a treat. And yet you are your parents' child, but you're also your own independent person. I was just thinking about how eloquently and perfectly captured your mom and your dad's speech was, and how I see all of those pieces within you, every single one of them. You've pushed our high school forward and gotten some of our teens to think differently. You've even inspired me. One of the things you probably don't know is we used to give gendered gifts here at Temple Habonim. If you're a boy, you get this. If you're a girl, you get this. That's going to change very, very soon, where we give one gift for no matter who you are. You helped me see that. This is also a special moment because this is my bar mitzvah portion. So I feel even more connected with you. And you just handled it so beautifully. And I know it wasn't easy. And I saw you push through even when it was challenging. And I'm proud of you. And I feel like there's a million more things I can say, but you've shared a lot of times in your life with me that you've had to have courage. And so to hear you not only speak up for yourself or for others that you care about in your own circle, but for others in our world, it really is. Thank you for this social justice warrior that we needed. And so on behalf of our movement and our world, thank you for existing and for being here and working as hard as you do. It's really something to be admired. On page 645, we're going to close the service with Lehigh, the story of Abraham. God speaking to Abraham in his 80s. I think he was in his 80s. Yes, Abraham was in his late 70s. 75. If you're 75 years old and I told you leave your land and go and start a whole new people, you might look at me like I'm crazy.
Unless it was in Florida.
Touche, Rabbi. But that's what Abraham did, and that's how we all got our start. So with a lot of wind, with God here, we sing Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, lechi lach. Together, you shall be a blessing. 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 Lechi Lach.
Before we go, just a few announcements, and I'm just not going to turn on my mic. You'll hear me. Oh, thank you, David. So even though what you saw here was an incredibly polished production, and I recognize that, it's because we take care of the smallest details. I want to just say a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank Terrence Whalen right over here to my left. Terrence has been communicating with our friend Michael Blaine, who you don't see, but he is the all-seeing eye for everything we do. Michael, thank you for an amazing thing and for an amazing job as always. And for those of you who are watching with us at home or wherever you may be, we can thank Michael for that. So thank you, Michael. Now, most importantly, I can't express to you how many different issues have to be resolved in order to do something like this. We saw Mimi and I do what we do, but David is here just in countless hours, because I can barely set up a stereo system and at my house, let alone do something like this. And David, but for you, we could never have had this morning. And I just want to express my gratitude. It is very, very complicated, and to do all the things and stream it and get the microphones working and stop the wind from blowing and making sure that everyone can be heard. And believe me, and on top of that, of course, you handle all of our musical needs with such grace and style and rhythm and beauty. So thank you. All right. So now, for all of you, I know that you want to be people in the Jewish tradition that hug and kiss and hang out in kibbutz.
but that's not here. That's just not here. What I need you to do is I need you to, when we all stand up and say Mazel Tov to Mimi, I need you to put your books on your chair and leave them there. And then I need you to like maybe spend, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes at the most, just saying hey and hello and keeping your masks on. But then I need you to go back into your cars and to retreat to wherever it is that you are going. And maybe back at the house in Warren. And it's just a short, beautiful drive, but you will see each other there. And then you can do whatever. As long as everyone's okay with it, it's up to you. But here, we want you to put your books on your chairs and sort of head to your cars sooner than later. All right. And please take your Torah with you, with your Torah blessings with you. The words of Torah shouldn't be just discarded. So, yeah. Or you can give it to David directly. Yes, that's also very, very fine too. All right, everybody, let's stand up. And we'll Nagila Hava, Nagila Hava, Nagila Simcha Hava, Nagila Hava, Nagila Hava, Nagila Simcha Yana Yaranana Hava Neranana Hava Neranana Nisimcha Hava Neranena Hava Neranena Hava Neranena Nisimcha Urachim Urachim Nisameach Urachim Nisameach Urachim Nisameach Urachim Nisameach Urachim Urachim Nisameach Mazel Tov.
Thank you.